ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमः विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नित्यानन्द नमस्तुभ्यं प्रेमानन्दप्रदायिने कलौ कल्मषनाशाय जानवापदये नमः। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरतुसे नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा. So we welcome everyone for today's discussion on Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So we are discussing from chapter 2 and verse number 58. We started yesterday this verse. Yada samarate chayam kurmanganiva sarvashaha indriyanindriyarthebhyastasya pragya pratisthita. One who is able to withdraw his senses from sense objects, as the tortoise draws its limbs within the cell, is firmly fixed in perfect consciousness. So one who can withdraw his senses from sense objects. So although this is not so easy thing, it requires a great deal of spiritual advancement, spiritual maturity, that one may be able to withdraw his senses from sense objects, as the tortoise draws its limbs within the cell. Because it's not so easy, that's why Lord Krishna is telling such a person is fixed in perfect consciousness. So this situation of perfect consciousness is a very, very highly elevated situation. Even demigods, great demigods cannot achieve to this perfect conscious, fixed consciousness in transcendental platform in Krishna consciousness. It's not so easy thing. We hear examples of many even great demigods also sometimes. They, because of being unable to control their senses, they fall. So this proves that it's not so easy thing to be able to do this. But if some or other, by some means, by some practice, if one can do this, so then he is perfectly liberated and he is firmly situated in fixed consciousness. Uh, so why this is not so easy? In the Bhagavatam, regarding this, it is mentioned. Hamsa Guhya prayers, teachings of Hamsa Avatar, Hamsa incarnation. Lord Krishna took a very wonderful incarnation known as Hamsa incarnation. So that is described in this chapter. It is teachings of Hamsa incarnation of Lord Vishnu, Bhagavatam, and chapter. So this is in 11th canto, chapter 13. So let's go there because it has to be 11.13. 11.13. Aham yogasya sankhasya. O Vaishnava, please know that I am the supreme shelter of the yoga system. So, Lord Brahma, once he was asked by his eldest sons, Chatush Kumar, four Kumaras, they approached Lord Brahma and asked this very wonderful question. It's a very amazing question. So we'll just read it. See, by asking me, who are you? So Lord Brahma, he asked this question in the beginning. I think it is there. Shivdha Vacha, Shivavan Vacha. हाँ संकादय ऊचुः गुणेषु अवसिते अविसते चेतो गुणास चेतसि च प्रभो कथम अन्योन्य संत्यागो मुमुक्षोर अतितिरिषो. A very important question. Wonderful philosophy is there. So these sages headed by Shanaka Chatush Kumar, they asked Lord Brahma, their father and spiritual master, "O Lord, people's minds are naturally attracted to material sense objects. This is one thing that everyone's mind, conditioned soul's mind, is naturally attracted to material sense objects. This is one thing. And similarly, the sense objects in the form of desire enter within the mind. That means the mind is there in the sense object, and simultaneously, sense object is also there in the mind. Uh, so this connection, this is so tight connection. It is practically impossible to get rid of it. So therefore, they are asking this question. Therefore, how can a person who desires liberation, wants to get liberated from these kind of material attachments, material desires? So any person, so how can a person who desires liberation, who desires to cross over activities of sense gratification, destroy this mutual relationship between the sense objects and the mind? Please explain this to us. This is the question. Uh, just to give an example, in order to just understand this, what it means. So, just like somebody who feels too much attachment for someone else. So, if another person, he doesn't have any attachment for the other person, so then it is easy to come out of it. But if both the person, if they are equally attached to each other, then it becomes almost impossible task to become separated. So this is the condition. This is similar thing. Mind and sense object. So either mind should be freed from sense object, or sense object should be freed from mind. If any of these things are there, then it is possible with some difficulty to completely become liberated and to become free from the desire to for sense gratification. But if it is not so, means if the mind is also in the sense object and sense objects are in the mind, then it is not possible. That's why they are in a very astonishing manner. These four Kumaras are not ordinary sages. They are liberated sages. And from the beginning of their birth, they always remained 5 year boys, 5 years old boys, so that they they do not have to take the trouble of getting married. Because when Lord Brahma, these four Kumaras are the first four sons of Lord Brahma. So Lord Brahma, he got this responsible task of filling this material world with all kinds of living entities. So this was his service. This is service of Lord Brahma. So for this matter, he started creating many Prajapatis, means many sons, offsprings, who will further create and populate the entire universe. So first of all, he created these four Kumaras, and also he gave them this Vedic wisdom, Vedic knowledge. So these four Kumaras, as soon as they got Vedic knowledge from Lord Brahma, they understood that this business of procreation, the business of getting married and creating children and establishing one's family, this is a bondage. So they decided will not enter into Grahasthasra. So Lord Brahma was forced. So that's why, because they had this yogic siddhi, so they remained 5 years old boys. That na rahega baans, na bajegi bansuri. So in this way, they went away and they started practicing austerity. So they are the foremost or the eldest sons of Lord Brahma. And they are very, very elevated souls. completely fixed in transcendental knowledge. They know everything about transcendence. But they are also surprised to observe how a conditioned soul in this material world is so entangled, influenced uh, by the desires of sense gratification that it is practically impossible to get rid of it. So they are also means surprised. So that's why they once approached their fathers. They are free, they are liberated, they are perfectly liberated. But when they saw the condition of conditioned souls in this material world, that how easily a conditioned soul gets attached to objects of sense gratification, so they got this means astonishment. And then how is it possible to become liberated from such conditioning? What is the way? They went to Lord Brahma and asked this question, wonderful question. Ki, uh, how can a person who desires liberation and who desires to cross over activities of sense gratification destroy this mutual relationship between the sense objects and the mind? Please explain this to us. This is the question. So, although this chapter is very big, but we'll just. Then Lord Brahma, he started explaining. So, Lord Brahma, before explaining, he was just contemplating. So, Lord Krishna is giving this, is narrating this as incident or episode to Uddhava. Then what Brahma? So Brahma himself, who is born directly from the body of the Lord, and who is the creator of all living entities within the material world, being the best of the demigods, seriously contemplated the question of his sons headed by Sanak. So as soon as Lord Brahma heard this question from his sons, so he started very seriously. He started contemplating. That means he also considered that this is so impossible, Baba, not so easy thing. So the intelligence of Brahma, however, was affected by his own activities of creation, and thus he could not discover the essential answer to this question. Because although Brahma is the first and foremost living entity in this material world, but still because his mind is also entangled in the activities of creation, so she could not figure out how it is possible to free mind from objects of sense gratification. Mind becomes very easily attached to something or somebody. So how is it possible? Because Lord Brahma himself was affected by this activities because of his own activities of creation. So there is another good lesson we learn from this. Uh, the person who himself is attached in this material world, she cannot free his dependent. That's not possible. That's why one is required that he must find out a bona fide spiritual master, a pure devotee spiritual master who is freed from such entanglement. Because only by taking shelter of such a pure Vaishnava, bona fide pure devotee who himself is freed from all material attachments, she can guide us perfectly and show us the way to become free. So all those who are, and it applies to in Vedic time, it applies to husband also. A perfect husband is one who is never attached to his wife. If somebody is attached to his wife, he cannot deliver his wife. That's not possible. And according to Vedic system, Vedic principle, and which is very scientific and logical and reasonable, the husband should be attached to the Supreme Lord and the spiritual master. The spiritual master and Supreme Lord. And spiritual master is attached to the Supreme Lord, and the wife should be attached to husband. Then all of them they get liberated. But if the husband, instead of being attached uh, to Krishna, or instead of being more attached to Krishna than his followers, for that matter, uh, it also applies to follower also, a spiritual master, guru, and his disciple. The similar relationship is husband and wife, guru and disciple. So, such a spiritual master or guru who is materially attached to his disciple, so she can also not help. What does it mean by material attachment? This material attachment means the responsible spiritual master, the spiritual master who doesn't want to lose his followers. He is concerned about his numbers, that I have so many followers. If I speak the truth, then they may leave me. And a spiritual master or authority, guru, who is attached to the glorification and the adoration and worship given by his disciple, then he cannot free such disciple from material entanglement. When Srila Prabhupada, he went to America, so some of other so-called sadhus, sannyasis, they suggested Srila Prabhupada that Swamiji, if you want to increase number of your followers in these Western countries, then you must be uh, careful not to speak something which they don't want to follow. Especially if you will tell them that you follow four relative principle, then they will leave you. You will have to remain alone here. Uh, so Srila Prabhupada, he very boldly he said that my business is not to flatter somebody to become my follower. My sole responsibility, my duty is to follow the instructions of my spiritual master. That means Srila Prabhupada was completely attached to his spiritual master. That's why he could very boldly and in a straightforward way uh, present the teachings of Krishna consciousness, Bhagavad Gita. And the result was those who were sincere, they remain attached to Srila Prabhupada. So in this way, one should not be attached. But of course, a spiritual master, a guru, may, out of concern and compassion, in order to deliver those of his disciples or followers who are sincere and serious to make a spiritual advancement, to become free from Maya. So such a spiritual master may, out of compassion and concern, may become attached to them spiritually in order to free them from material existence. So that is different kind of attachment. So this so Lord Brahma here it is mentioned because Lord Brahma himself was affected by his activities of creation. So he could not get the perfect solution. Although he seriously contemplated over this, what could be the solution? Just imagine, Lord Brahma is the personality who knows the entire Vedas. Entire Vedas are known to him. Means he has all the knowledge. But still, because he is influenced by the activities of creation, although he has knowledge, but he cannot properly figure out. He could not properly figure out to means make his sons understand how to become free from this attachment of mind towards sense object. So thus he could not discover the essential answer to this question. Then samam chintayateva prashna paratitirshaya tasyaham hamsa rupena sakasam agamam tada. So Lord Krishna, he is narrating this story to Uddhava. So then Lord Krishna says, Lord Brahma desired to attain the answer to the question that was puzzling him, and thus he fixed his mind upon on me, the Supreme Lord. At that time, in my form of Hamsa, I became visible to Lord Brahma. So Lord Brahma, although because of being in touch with mode of passion, because he is creator, so he is in touch somewhat in association with mode of passion. So he himself could not figure out the answer, but because he is a devotee of Lord Krishna, so that is the nature of a devotee. Sometimes when he himself is unable to help with, then he takes shelter of Krishna's lotus feet and prays to him. So he started uh, fixing his mind on Supreme Lord. And that time, Lord Krishna, being very merciful to Lord Brahma, because he is a very dear servant of Lord Krishna, so he appeared in the form of Hamsa. This is known as Hamsa avatar. Hamsa means swan. So Lord Krishna. दृष्ट्वा मां तु पव्रज्य कृत्वा पादाभिवन्दनं ब्रह्माणमग्रतः कृत्वा पप्रच्छुः भवानिति. So when Lord Krishna took the incarnation of Hamsa, uh, so Hamsa avatar, so on seeing me, the sages, who are the sages? Those Chatushkumar, those four sages. So placing Brahma in the lead means Brahma in front of Hansa avatar. Brahma was in front, leader, because he is father and spiritual master of those four sages. So he is in the front. They came forward, everyone, and they worshipped my lotus feet. Then they frankly asked me, "Who are you?" So although they somewhat they knew that he is the incarnation of God, so they worship his lotus feet. But still, to confirm, they are asking, "Who are you?" So, इत्यहं मुनिभिः पृष्ठतत्त्वजिज्ञासुभिः तदा यदवोचम् अहं तेभ्यस्तदुद्धौ निबोध मे. My dear Uddhav, the sages being eager to understand the ultimate truth of the yoga system, thus inquired from me. Now please hear as I explain that which I spoke unto the sages. So, because those sages were very eager to understand the ultimate truth of yoga system, because they wanted to become delivered from this. Uh, okay, you inform. So, so then, uh, so they because they were eager to understand the ultimate truth, so they inquired from Lord Krishna. So in the form of Hans incarnation. So now please hear as I explain that which I spoke unto the sages. So now Lord Krishna is going to explain in great detail in the form of Hans incarnation that what is the solution? How to become free from the attachments, which is very difficult to give up. Uh, Although this is a simple task is simple but not easy. It is difficult. What is very simple that Krishna will explain in the answer avatar. There's nothing so uh, what you say rocket science or very big deal. But one simple thing one has to understand and do, then it is possible. The solution is very simple, but it's not so easy. But by the mercy of the Supreme Lord, we'll come to know. स्वस्तुनो यदि अनावत्नात्व आत्मनः प्रश्नैर्दृशः कथं घटेत वो विप्रा वक्तुर्वामेक आश्रयः. So before explaining the answer, before giving them the answer, so Lord Krishna in the form of Hans Avatar, so this Hans Avatar uh, wanted to have the clarification of what did they ask, because they asked him, "Who are you?" So the sages they asked, "Who are you?" So instead of giving direct answer to this question, Hans Avatar started asking, giving answers in various ways in order to bring out that point when eventually he's going to speak the answer to their question. So, in order to make them understand that with whom we identify ourselves in this world. So he's asking. So this is a bit very technical. You may not be able to understand it, but doesn't matter. It is 5, 6 verses, and after that, when Krishna will explain the question, that will know. So just hear it. It is very interesting thing. Huh? So Lord Krishna asked these brahmanas. Counter asked. They asked. They worshipped his lotus feet, and when they asked, "Who are you?" So Lord Krishna is counter asking them. If when asking me who I am, you believe that I am also a jiva soul, and that there is no ultimate difference between us, since all souls are ultimately one without individuality, then how is your question possible or appropriate? Ultimately, what is the real situation resting place both of yourselves and of me? So, while asking this question, if you think that I am also Jiva soul, and if there is no ultimate difference, means Maya was misconception, then there is no difference between you and me. Then why are you asking this question? Who are you? The real point is that that means when somebody is asking to someone, "Who are you?" If you are asking me this question, "Who are you?" that means you are accepting that we have difference. So you should remove this Mayavad misconception that there is no difference. Because if you think that I'm also a Jiva soul and you are also a Jiva soul and there is no ultimate difference between so many living entities, then your question will be inappropriate, worthless. But because you have asked this question, this proves that there is difference. Now, next. So, first of all, he refuted this Mayavad misconception. So, this the way Lord Krishna is in the form of Hans Avatar, the way he is counter asking to those sages, this is going to bring out a very essential point. Who is our real? What is our real identity? Who are we actually? Uh, are we all just a Brahman? Just only one Brahman? No. So eventually it will come to explain the their question that we have no identification at all with anything of this material world. Now let's Lord Krishna next says Panchatmakeshu Bhuteshu Samaneshu cha Vastutah Ko Bhavaniti Vah Prashno Vacharambho Yanarthaka. If by asking me, who are you? You were referring to the material body, then I must point out that all material bodies are constituted of five elements, namely earth, water, fire, air, and ether. Thus, you should have asked, who are you five? If you consider that the all material bodies are ultimately one, being constituted essentially of the same elements, then your question is still meaningless, since there would be no deep purpose in distinguishing one body from another. Thus, it appears that in asking my identity, you are merely speaking words without any real meaning or purpose. Understood? It's very technical, but Lord Krishna is giving another argument. If by asking me that who are you, if you are referring to this material body, if you are thinking this material body, then you should have asked who are you five, because this material body is made of five elements. And another point is still your question will be meaningless, because if I am this material body made of this material body, still, because all material bodies are dead, made up of earth, water, fire, air, ether. So there should be no difference between your body and my body. So why are you asking who are you? You should understand. You are also matter, I am also matter. Finish. So there is no difference then also in material level. So then also your question appeared to be meaningless. There is no real meaning or purpose. You are just speaking as a matter of formality. So Krishna is very beautifully is catching their attention. Uh, he's catching their attention that try to understand who exactly you are. Try to understand by this negation method. Krishna is telling you try to understand you are not of anything of this material world, and even after this Mayavad misconception, one gets liberation, complete merging into a Brahman, oneness with Brahman. That is also meaningless, because then why are you asking who are you? So manasa vachasa drishtaya grahiyate nirapindriyai aham evan matto anyat iti buddhyadhvam manjasa. In this world, whatever is perceived by the mind, speech, eyes, or other senses is me alone and nothing besides me. All of you please understand this by straightforward analysis of the facts. So now Krishna, he himself gave his answer. He's telling. So with mind, speech, eyes, and other senses, whatever you perceive, that is me only. Who are you? You are asking, who are you? Now hear from me who I am. Nothing besides me exists. So you, all of you, please understand. You use your intelligence and understand it by a straightforward analysis. Guneshu avisate cheto, gunas chetasi cha praja, jivasya deha ubhayam gunas cheto madatmanaha. My dear sons, Hans Avatar is addressing, my dear sons, the mind has a natural proclivity to enter into the material sense objects, and similarly the sense objects enter into the mind. But both this material mind and the sense objects are merely designations that cover the spirit soul, who is part and parcel of me. Now Krishna is giving the answer. From this verse onward, Lord Krishna is explaining the answer to the puzzling question. And those of you who attended previous Hindi Gita class, so we exactly discussed the same thing, Upadhi. Sarva Upadhi Vinirmuktam. As long as we maintain this designation or Upadhi, any Upadhi or any designation, misidentification of ourselves, uh, uh, any designation other than Krishna's relationship with Krishna. Any designation means identifying oneself with something. If I think I am an Indian, I am a doctor, I am an engineer, I am somebody's husband, wife, children, mother, father, I am somebody's boyfriend, girlfriend, companion, partner, life and soul. So many big things. If I think in any way, identify myself with any kind of designation, identification uh, other than Krishna, then that is merely a designation which cover the spirit soul. But spirit soul is actually part and parcel of me. So that's why let's read it again. My dear sons, the mind has a natural proclivity to enter into material sense objects, and similarly, the sense objects enter into the mind. But both this material mind and the sense objects are merely designations. So, this mind and material objects. So, mind is within material objects, and these material objects are within mind. Just see mind and material objects. So, mind is within material objects, and simultaneously, these material objects of sense gratification are within mind. But how to make them free? It's practically impossible to separate them. It's not at all possible. But Lord Krishna is very beautifully explaining the philosophy that you should understand. Both this mind, which is within sense objects, and the sense objects, which is within the mind, are merely designation, outer covering of the spirit soul. That spirit soul, who is part and parcel of Krishna. So, understanding this very fact, you should reject both material objects and mind and throw it away. This is the philosophy. So, it's very beautiful, but time is over. We'll discuss more about this. गुणेषु चाविसश्चित्तम् अभीक्षणम् गुणसेवया गुणाश्च चित्त प्रभवा मदरूपभयम् त्यजेत्. A person who has thus achieved me by understanding that he is not different from me realizes that the material mind is lodged within the sense objects because of constant sense gratification. This is the reason. And that the material objects are existing prominently within the material mind. Having understood my transcendental nature, he gives up both the material mind and its objects. That means he gives up the false identification either with this material mind or material object. Such a person, he understands very well that I'm not this body at all, neither this gross body, I'm not this gross body, I'm not this material mind, and all those material objects which are within the mind for the purpose of sense enjoyment, which I have gotten after performing constant sense gratification activity from many lifetimes. So such being situated in such transcendental knowledge, and what is this situation? Only a person who has thus achieved me, one who has become attached to Krishna with perfect understanding that I belong to Krishna only. I'm eternally Krishna's servant. So he can give up this identification, false identification with the mind, as well as then the so sense objects which are within the mind. Both are just discarded. So having understood my transcendental nature, then he gives up both the material mind and its object. Then it is very easy. That's why I said it is very simple actually to become free from this excessive attachment for something or someone in this world. It's not difficult thing. It's difficult, but it's simple. This is simple. One has to just catch the point and understand it, accept this. Let's finish. Jagrata swapna susuptam cha gunatu buddhi vrittayo tasham vilakshano jiva sakstvena vinishita. Waking, sleeping, and deep sleep are the three functions of the intelligence and caused by the modes of nature. The living entity within the body is ascertained to possess characteristics different from these three states and thus remains as a witness to them. Living entity is just a witness. It has nothing to do with with the activities of either gross body or subtle body, which are conducted under the influence of three modes of material nature. So, okay, time is up. We'll discuss tomorrow more about this. So this is from Bhagavatam. Uh, we took it because this verse says in Bhagavad Gita, Yada Samarate Chayam, just to explain this verse, that Krishna is saying, one who is able to withdraw his senses from sense objects, and as the tortoise draws its limbs within the cell, he is perfectly fixed in perfect consciousness. He is firmly fixed in perfect consciousness. So, who can do this to withdraw his senses from sense objects? So, that requires this complete knowledge that I'm not this material body mind. Then he can do this. Okay, thank you very much. Great question. We discussed that husband should not be attached to the wife. Wife should attach to be attached to husband. So if in Kali Yuga this is the possibility. If husband is attached to wife, then wife should search out such a devotee, a pure devotee, a spiritual master. Then she should, as a matter of duty, she can serve the husband, but she should get attached to some pure devotee and the Supreme Lord Krishna directly, and in this way deliver herself from material existence. This is the solution. And this is what exactly Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur Prabhupada did. If he found that some of his female disciples, their husband or children, they are not devotees, then they suggested that you serve as a matter of duty to them without being attached to them. Give up your attachment to them, just as a matter of duty you serve, and develop your attachment for the spiritual master and the Supreme Lord. In this way, you deliver yourself. But if somebody is fortunate enough to find a husband who is equally potent, a pure devotee, who is not at all attached to family affairs, and who is only concerned with the service to his spiritual master and the Supreme Lord, this such a uh, means husband is quite capable of delivering his wife and children. So it may be difficult in Kali Yuga, but not impossible. Otherwise, second solution is this, that one should develop attachment for the spiritual master and the Supreme Lord and deliver himself. Okay, Hare Krishna.